Welcome to Screw the Commute, the entrepreneurial podcast dedicated to getting you out of the car and into the money. With your host, lifelong entrepreneur and multimillionaire, Tom Antion.
Hey everybody, it's Tom here with episode 127 of Screw the Commute podcast. Today we're going to talk about paid traffic. Yeah, I still believe in basic search engine optimization, but paid traffic is now the key to success. And I'll cover this today in my Monday training session. Now, remember, Mondays are reserved for in-depth training on things that have made or saved me lots of money. And Wednesdays and Fridays, I interview lots of other great entrepreneurs. All right, now, last episode, speaking of great entrepreneurs, it was 126. That was Travis Ketchum. He is the founder and inventor of contest domination. Now, this guy has the gold standard for contest services and is responsible for probably 80 million contest entries. And he's also got a new service that it even shocked me after I've been doing this online stuff for 25 years. So don't miss his episode. All right, I got a big freebie to thank you for listening to the podcast. It's my $27 ebook, How to Automate Your Business. And just one of the tips in this ebook has saved me over 7 million keystrokes. And I might have something else over there for you that I know you're going to like. So check it out at screwthecommute.com/automate free. Screwthecommute.com/automate free. And of course, all the links and stuff we talk about today will be in the show notes for episode 127. All right, our podcast app is in the iTunes store, and you can also go to screwthecommute.com/app, where we have complete instructions to show you how to use all the fancy features so you can take us with you on the road, put it on the cell phone and your tablet. And also, if you would be so kind, please visit iTunes and leave us a review and a rating, because it really helps out the show. And tell your friends about it, too. If anybody that's interested in entrepreneurship, this show is the bomb for that. All right, so today's sponsor is the Distance Learning School, the Internet Marketing Training Center of Virginia. I mean, did you ever wonder how tens of thousands of people like me sit home, earn legitimate money, and don't have to listen to a boss or get up and fight traffic every day? Well, it's because we have legitimate online businesses. And the reason I keep emphasizing the word legitimate is because there are tons of scams out there in the online world. That's why I started the only licensed and dedicated internet marketing distance learning school in the country. That's imtcva.org. And you can have, and here I go again, legitimate lifestyle business in as little as 6 months. So check it out, and we'll have a link in the show notes. And by the way, we're approved by the Department of Defense for their scholarship program for military spouses. So if you know any military spouses who want to work out of their home from wherever they're deployed, please send them my way. All right, let's get to the main event. Today's topic is paid traffic. Now, for many years, I had great success with what they call organic traffic. In other words, traffic that came directly off the search engines because I was positioned well for my keywords. And I had pretty much the best of the best training early on by a guy named Michael Campbell. And he could get all top 10 positions in the search engines for himself and his clients. And I was able to get between 4 and 6 of the top positions for myself on major keywords. And I was in the top 3 on Google for 12 years straight on a major keyword. And that brought me hundreds of thousands of dollars of business over all those years. Well, what's the old saying? That was then, this is now. Okay. Most of that stuff is long gone, and I gave up on chasing first page rankings probably, about 5 years ago now. Now, I made a major shift in my strategy, and it's just not worth the time and effort anymore. And for most people, they could chase top rankings for a year or more and never get one. And not only did you lose all the time and money chasing the top rankings, you lost the sales you could have had all that time. I mean, it's long past the time when people penny pinch and think they can just write some good blog posts and have traffic pouring into their website. You have to do so much now to even have a chance of any success. That to me is just too risky and wasteful to even try. And even if you did get some success, Google and the other search engines could change one little thing, and all of a sudden you disappear off the face of the earth. And it's happened even to many big companies who have 40 geeks working on this day and night to beat you. They had to lay off tons of people when Google made a change where the company's rankings plummeted, and so did their sales. Now, none of what I just said means I think you should ignore basic search engine optimization principles that we aren't going to really cover in today's episode. It just means you will be far better off learning about paid traffic sources and how to tap into them, hey, without losing your shirt. And not to scare you off, but you can lose your shirt if you're not careful. How do I know? Well, years ago, I got too busy and I put an ad in on a weekend or Friday and forgot about it till Monday, where I owed Google $8,000, all right, with no sales from that ad. Oh, my God. So this brings me to your first lesson about paid traffic. You must obsess on your ads until you get more experience and learn how to limit losses if an ad isn't working. Well, what does obsess mean? It means you check your ads every 15 minutes or so and maybe turn them off at night. It means knowing absolutely how to pause them. And you would think that would be easy too, wouldn't you? Well, this was another hard lesson I had to learn. At least it wasn't $8,000, but it was $500 I lost when I thought I paused an ad and it was really still running. I didn't know about it till I got my Google bill. I got hold of them, which isn't easy, to complain that I had paused the ads weeks ago. And you know what they said? No, you didn't. You just paused one ad group, but left the entire campaign running. Oh, no, there's another user error. So I paid the darn bill again. And again, I don't want to scare you off from paid traffic. I just want you to know there are dangers of not knowing what you're doing. Today's episode is designed to show you where you could be advertising and give you ideas on how it works. But to do it well takes some training, or you could be paying those big bills that I had to pay and get no results. Now, speaking of results, here's another overriding principle when you are using paid ads. Most of your ads will fail. What? Yeah, I said most of your ads will fail. Even the best, most experienced digital ad agency will tell you most of their ads fail. And you might ask, well, if most of your ads fail, how could you possibly make any money with paid ads? The answer comes in that old adage, you must fail fast. That means you cut off failing ads quickly. Now, here's how it works. Let's say you were advertising, let's say, collectible baseball cards, and you would make a whole bunch of ads. Maybe one had Babe Ruth on it and another Willie Mays and so forth. Maybe another set of ads were a video collage of a bunch of baseball cards. And maybe another set of ads where you were holding up and talking about collectible baseball cards. Then, hey, you might change the text surrounding the ads to emphasize different things about baseball cards. Maybe one set of ads concentrates on the financial appreciation baseball cards have had over the years. So it's a good investment. Now be careful not to guarantee that. All right, you'll get in trouble. Maybe another set of ads concentrates on passing them on to your kids and so forth. So you might end up with 15 or 20 ads or more. Well, you put all the ads up, and then, like I just said, you obsess on them. You watch carefully which ads are getting the most clicks for the cheapest price, and you shut off the ones that are giving you the least clicks at the highest price. Basically, you're looking for the winning ads and immediately shutting off the losing ads or failing fast. Remember, I said most of your ads will fail. That's just the nature of the beast. You want to find the tiny number of winners out of all the losers. Now, let me take a little sidebar here. Now, this is an introduction to paid ads. So I'm just giving you the basics. As you get more experience, you will learn things like the ad that gets the most clicks is not necessarily the best ad. What if it's getting lots of clicks from people that come over to your site, but they don't buy anything? In other words, they're tire kickers. In many cases, you'll find that an ad that gets far fewer clicks is the best ad for you, because even though it doesn't bring as many people, the people it does attract are buyers and not tire kickers. Now, this gets into the field of ad tracking, which is too deep for today's episode, and I'll probably cover that in a future training session, because getting good at ad tracking and split testing ads, things like that, can really make you rich. Okay, so now I'm going to get into the different places you could be advertising. Now, you should know that Google and Facebook are only a fraction of places you could be advertising. And this is by no means a comprehensive list today. It is way more than enough for you to get started. And even I don't do too many of these at once, because I don't want to get too busy to obsess and forget about a losing ad, which will waste a lot of money. Now, I'll also be throwing in paid advertising tips along the way. All right, let's go through a list of places you can advertise. I think I put these in alphabetical order so as not to push one service over the other. So you have to experiment and find out the ones that make you money for your products and your services. Okay, the first is AMS, or Amazon Marketing Services. You can now advertise your books and other products on Amazon, and they are now the third largest advertising service behind Google and Facebook. Next is Bing. It's Microsoft's version of Google Ads. It's actually a good place to start learning paid ads, because since it has less traffic and less advertisers, the clicks are not as expensive, and any screw-ups you have will most likely be less painful than if you did it on Google. They also now have a custom audience function available, which I'm going to cover audiences later. And they're making it easier to import any ads you've tried in Google into their advertising platform. Okay, here we go with Facebook. Now, the absolute first thing you should do, or might more likely have a geek or a tech person do for you, is to set the Facebook pixel on all your pages of your blogs, websites, shopping cart, thank you pages, all that stuff. So what's a pixel? Well, to simplify it, it's a piece of code that marks people that visit your pages. Now, you may have heard of cookies before. It's kind of a cookie. But what it does is that it marks people so you can advertise to them more efficiently. So let's go back to our baseball card example. Let's say that you have a separate page for each one of your major baseball cards. We'll take Babe Ruth again as an example. Let's say you had 1,000 people visit the Babe Ruth page of your website. Well, those 1,000 people have shown a special interest in Babe Ruth because they visited the Babe Ruth page. All 1,000 of those people got what we call pixeled. In other words, the Facebook pixel knows those 1,000 people visited the page. So when you decide to advertise some Babe Ruth stuff, you can advertise only to those people who have already shown interest in Babe Ruth, instead of sending your ad to everybody on earth. This is what is called targeted advertising. It increases your chances to sell Babe Ruth stuff because the people had already shown an interest in Babe Ruth. And it decreases your ad cost because you aren't advertising to the whole world, only to a specific targeted group of people. Pixels will let you do lots of other stuff, like not showing ads to people who already bought a certain product. That's certainly wasteful and annoying to them. I'll also cover more about pixels when I tell you about audiences here shortly. One thing you should know about pixels is that Facebook is not the only advertising place that has them. Google has them too, and some of the other advertising places are getting them. But for now, Your IT person or geek should install both the Google and the Facebook Pixel at the same time so you'll be ready when you start advertising on Google and Facebook. Okay, I've got something with regard to Facebook that I really suggest you look at. It's called the Facebook Epic Infographic on targeting your ads. It gives you all the different choices you can make to target your ads. And make sure you take a look at it in the show notes. I've put a link there for you, and it's really, really great. It was great for me because you can just do so many things to target people on Facebook. This put it all in one place for you so you could understand it. All right, now let's talk about Facebook audiences. And I have another great resource article I like from a company called Ad Espresso. It's a beginner's guide to targeting ads on Facebook, and I've also put a link to that in your show notes. All right, back to Facebook audiences. Basically, an audience is a group of people. The reason Facebook is kind of the gold standard for targeting ads is because they give you so many ways to precisely target people that you want to send ads to. I mean, it's almost a little scary or creepy how much they know about their users. All right, but that's kind of another issue. But from an advertising standpoint, it's good for you because you can point ads only to those people that should care about the ads, which saves you tons of money from shoving out ads to everyone. Now, one of the ways you can target is based on a person's interest. Maybe they like golf or tennis, or maybe they like the show Game of Thrones or whatever that is. I mean, you can actually target those people with an ad. It's crazy, isn't it? You can target people based on their affiliation. Maybe you want to target people who work at IBM, who are liberal or conservative, or both, work at IBM and are liberal or conservative. You can make custom audiences that have a bunch of targeting options lumped into one. Maybe you want to target tennis players in Florida that are 35 years of age or older. Or maybe you want to find another way to reach your own subscribers and customers. So you could upload your database to Facebook, and they do their best to locate your people on Facebook and create an audience of them for you to advertise to. That's also called a custom audience. And you might ask, well, why would I do that when I can just email them? Well, it's important to be able to reach your people in multiple ways, and many people don't read their email right away, and many email programs throw your email in the spam folder or commercial folder. So reaching people in more than one way is a good idea. Now, here's a really cool thing that Facebook does. It creates lookalike audiences. Facebook will actually take your customers or subscribers and go out and find similar people to the people that already know you. And they make a lookalike audience to them, and you can advertise to that group of people. Now, how they know who the lookalike audiences are is beyond my pay grade. All right. But anyway, the more you advertise to your lookalike audience and start getting some results, the more accurate the targeting of potential lookalike people becomes. I mean, it's amazing how lookalike audiences work. I mean, I don't pretend to understand how Facebook could do this, but they can. Okay, here's another really powerful thing you can do with audiences. And I'll bet this has happened to you. You visit a website or product page, and then all of a sudden, ads for that product start appearing all over the place. I mean, I bought a bra one time for my girlfriend because she needed it for an event, and I had Amazon Prime account for fast shipping. So for the next couple of months, bra ads were following me around wherever I went. So anyway, what just happened was that I was retargeted. In this case, they retargeted me as a person interested in bras. I guess that's technically right. But if I hadn't bought the bra, they probably would have sent me ads for the same bra, reminding me to come back and buy it. In other words, they saw I was interested, and they sent me something based on the interest I showed. That's retargeting. Oh, And one more thing, it's also another way you'll hear it is called remarketing, retargeting or remarketing. And your results are generally better because the person has shown an interest in your product before you advertise the product to them. So, now that you know that an audience is a group of people that have certain characteristics, in other words, they visit a certain page, or they're interested in a certain topic, or they work at a certain place, now let's talk about the strategy to create ads for different audiences. And remember, I'm going to cover a lot more places to advertise than just Facebook, all right? But the next thing that I tell you applies to many places. Now, this is called audience temperature. Now, I break down audiences into 3 identifiers: cold, warm, and hot. Your strategy with your ads needs to be different for each of those audiences. Now, first, let me define what I mean by cold, warm, and hot. Well, the first audience, called cold, means that they have never heard of you or shown any interest in your stuff. The second audience, called warm, is an audience that's heard of you and your products and services. And what's the one way we know they've been exposed to your stuff? It's because they got pixeled, like I talked about before, when they were at one of your pages. Then a hot audience is a customer. They clearly know who you are, or they know your product or service because they paid for it. I guess there could be other hot audiences like stalkers or something, but we'll stick to customers as the definition of a hot audience for this episode. Okay, for a cold audience, you have to grab attention immediately, especially on Facebook where people are scrolling through their news feed. You got to do something in the first 5 seconds to grab them and make them stop their scrolling and look at your ad or your video. I mean, you could hold up your book cover, or you could have something written on your T-shirt. And the reason I'm emphasizing making them see something is that many times their audio is turned off by default. So what you say won't even be heard by many people. So anyway, for cold audiences, you have to grab attention, and usually you don't try to go directly for a sale. In general, they just don't know you enough at that point. So it's okay to give away a freebie or something like that as part of the ad, but just don't expect a big response to buy stuff when it's a cold audience. For a warm audience, again, your job isn't to sell them directly. It would be nice if you could, and you can certainly try, but the goal of a warm ad should be to move the person along the path, to getting to know, like, and trust you so that they eventually buy something. Maybe you push harder for a freebie giveaway or a webinar registration, free webinar, or more details about the product page they visited on your website. I mean, you can try for a sale, and you should have better luck than you would with a cold audience, but nothing is as good as a hot audience. Now, hot audiences know you already. You don't need any warm-up, and they just want to see what you got going now, or what your new product or offering or teaching is. And certainly you can advertise like crazy to this group, but don't be crazy about it. If you just keep hammering them, even the hottest audience, to buy more stuff, well, they eventually get tired of you and disappear or ignore your ads. And every once in a while, why not throw a customer appreciation party, or give them some free training or a gift card or some other thing than an ad, so that you keep them hot and they don't go from hot to gone. All right, you might hear some dogs in the background. We have 30 dogs here for a while, and it's been a storm, so they're kind of yipping a little bit. All right, so now you know how to treat different temperatures of audiences: cold, warm, and hot. Now let's talk about how good your ads are in the eyes of the gatekeepers of ads. So now I'll cover the topic of relevance score. Now, this was an evaluation by Facebook of how aligned your ad was with your entire offer. I guess that's a fair definition, but the problem is that there are a lot of things involved in an ad. And a low relevance score simply told you that your offering sucks and that Facebook is going to charge you a lot of extra money to run it, if they let you run it at all. So the relevance score didn't tell you why your offering sucked. So after lots of screaming over a couple years from advertisers, Facebook is retiring the relevance score and replacing it with 3 new things called quality ranking, engagement rate ranking, and conversion rate ranking. I'm going to explain those. Don't freak out about it. So this helps marketers narrow down the areas they need to fix to have a better overall offering and cheaper ad rates. See, Facebook wants the advertiser, or excuse me, the visitor to have a good experience with the ads they see and click on. If Facebook didn't care what kind of crappy and misleading ads showed, then people would quit clicking altogether and their whole revenue model would fall apart. And they're not about to let that happen. So they want ads to be good and not misleading or a hassle, more than, of course, ads already are for Facebook users. Google and any other reputable advertising platform feel the same way. Just some are stricter than others. Now, Facebook realizes that if they would require all ads to be perfect, they'd lose 90% of their advertisers. So, who would feel like this is just too much trouble. So they let ads in that aren't perfect, but they just charge more for them. In other words, they give you the incentive of cheaper ads to encourage you to make better ads and overall offerings. And if the offering is really bad, they won't let it run at all. All right, so let's take a look at these 3 ranking factors that are replacing the relevance score. All right, the first is the quality ranking. If you notice your quality ranking is lacking, this means your competitors' ads are better than yours. You need to look closely at other ads, and one good place to see lots of ads is at adespresso.com. It'll have it in the show notes. And you continue to make your ads look great and clearly convey your offer, and your score will rise. All right, now the second one is engagement rate ranking. Now, poor engagement rates means you need to focus on the things that make Facebook users stop scrolling and take action. Like I told you, grab them. Well, it's similar to what I talked about in cold audiences. See, if people are ignoring your ad, you don't make any money, and neither does Facebook, so they give you a low score. Conversion rate ranking. All right, that's the last one. Now, if this is poor, you need to look at what happens to the visitor after they click. See, if they go to your landing page, are they buying or opting in or registering, or are they doing whatever you wanted them to do? If they're not, you've got to fix your landing page, and we're going to talk about that in a second. So I'm really kind of happy Facebook did this so that we at least have a chance to know what to do to fix low scores, which give us higher costs for our ads. All right, landing pages. Now, there's an old saying about landing pages, and that's that one size fits none. See, there's no such thing as a universal landing page. And if you want to create the best customer experience and get a high conversion rate ranking with your ads and sell more stuff too, you want to make a good landing page. But first, let me define a landing page with regard to what it means for paid ads. A landing page is the page the person, quote, lands on when they click from your ad. If there's too much information on the page, it can annoy someone who already knows what they need. And if there's too little information, well, it may cause the first-time visitor to move on to your competitor. If the landing page headline doesn't make sense as compared to what someone was expecting when they clicked the ad, they'll immediately leave and you'll get a bad score. So back to one size fits none. So you must have multiple landing pages. And don't let that scare you. And in most cases, you can just copy the previous landing page and change a few things and you'll be okay. For instance, here's an obvious mismatch. If I was selling an advanced gardening course in an ad, and the person clicked to a landing page that said, if you like gardening, this page is for you. Well, that implies anybody, even beginner gardeners, will find something here. Well, wait a minute. The ad said advanced gardeners, and that's why the person clicked. They didn't want a gardening product that anyone could use. They wanted something for advanced gardeners. So they immediately leave the page. The landing page should have said something like, if you're an advanced gardener, then you've come to the right place, or something like that. See, the ad aligned with the headline of the landing page. So this is really, really important. And here's some more things that are usually required on landing pages. Many of these items are absolutes, where your ad will not get approved at all in many services if it doesn't comply with what I tell you now. Now, usually there's a demand for you, for your contact information, a privacy policy, and your terms of service. Hey, the page has to be mobile friendly. You should be able to navigate away from the page. In other words, people are not stuck on the landing page. You usually can't have any automatic pop-ups, although if a person presses a button, that's okay to trigger a pop-up window. And just like I said before, the ad content should match the landing page content. You should put your landing pages on your own domain. Don't put any exit stalls like are things that keep them from leaving the page. Of course, you can't be selling any content on the landing page that's banned by the ad service, no matter what the ad says. So make sure you check the terms of service of the ad service to make sure you're not trying to sell stuff that's on their banned list. And make sure nothing downloads automatically from the page and no audios or videos automatically play. And make sure the offer is clear and includes all the details. For instance, if you're giving a $1 trial, you must make it clear if they will be automatically charged, let's say $20 a month after the trial period. That must be clear, or you might even get banned for being misleading. All right, so here's some miscellaneous paid ad tips. And I still got lots of stuff coming for you on other places to market or to buy ads. Okay, let me give you some more miscellaneous tips. First, you might want to bid on longer keywords and to offer answers to questions in your ads. And produce ads that get people not to click. How you like that? In other words, disqualify them. For instance, if you had a beginner's course on learning to play chess, you would not want an advanced chess player to click on the ad because they wouldn't want your beginner's course. So you'd put in your ad, learn to play chess, or beginning chess players only. See, do whatever you can to get people not to click. And the ones that do click are probably pretty good prospects. And you have to pay for these clicks. That's why we don't want them to click unless they're qualified. Okay, on to more places you can advertise. And while I'm thinking of it, every single place I mentioned today has its own quirks. So I suggest only concentrating on one service until you get really good at it, or things are going to get confusing really fast. All right. All right, LinkedIn has ads, and video ads are taken off there. Plus, they are introducing lookalike audiences, and you can now target by people's interest. So many of these services are trying to move towards the targeting abilities of Facebook, but most of them are woefully far behind. All right, if you advertise a podcast, there are two good places. One is overcast.fm. And if you like to do audio ads, Spotify.com is a good place. Those are two places for your podcast. All right, now if you have mass market stuff, if you have like general stuff or products, Outbrain and Taboola are good places, and I can never remember how to spell Taboola. These are pay-per-click sites that get you on super sites like Time Magazine, CNN, AOL, and the biggies. But just remember that it's fraudulent to advertise on these big sites and then put their logo on your site pretending to have been featured on the site. Do that and you're a scumbag, just like the people promoting that idea. All right, Quora is a super high traffic question and answer site. And your ad can show when someone asks a question, and your ad can actually, I'm pretty sure, send them to one of your answers where you have pretty much unlimited space to impress them on your stuff. I mean, your answer can't be just a big ad. It needs to be a real answer, but you can sneak in your own products and services in the answer. All right, Reddit. Now, this is a special animal, and you really have to be careful and get to know the culture. Let me reemphasize that. You better darn well know the culture, because users can either upvote or downvote your ad. All right? And they can give you a load of crap if they don't like you. So now, on the other hand, taking the time to be one of them can pay off really big because of the power of that platform. So I've put a link in the show notes on how to be successful on Reddit with advertising. But I'm going to give you some tips right now. I mean, spend some time there posting before you advertise. Get to know the culture. Pick the right subreddits. Now, these are the communities, like niche communities based around a specific subject. Get to know that and go there. Don't advertise on the homepage. That's crazy, ridiculous. They don't have a lot of sophisticated tools, but they are getting better. Now, it's not a place for fancy, super polished ads. It's just regular text and hello, how are you, and be real, because they want you to be real. And you can put link ads that go to your website, or you can put ads that go to a post, similar to what I was mentioning on Quora. People will give you feedback on your ads, so don't overhype stuff. But it isn't overloaded with marketers, probably because they're scared, to get downvoted. And it's not like the protection like as Facebook. You can get a little more wild if it makes sense. And so anyway, that's Reddit. Now, Pinterest is known to have an audience of approximately 80% female, and the amount of money they spend on products and services, I've heard as much as 7 or 8 times as much as the average person spends on Facebook. So some tips for Pinterest are that you should avoid including your brand logo in your ads. I mean, they should kind of blend in to the other pictures. And also, don't expect an enormous click-through rate. Healthy on Pinterest is considered 0.2%, all right? And a really strong ad is 0.5%, half of 1%. That's considered good on Pinterest. And also, Pinterest recommends that you tie at least 100 keywords that helps your ad show. I hardly ever hear that anywhere. So anyway, and just so you know, a pin is what a picture is on Pinterest is called. So they call it a pin. All right, YouTube. Let's move on to that. Well, YouTube and their True View and Discovery ads are, I believe, to be the best bargains you can find for paid ads online. See, with the potential volume there is and the cheap or free views, I think it's important you get a paid presence on YouTube. And I'm sure everyone listening to this is familiar with the skip button on YouTube videos. If your ad is 30 seconds or longer, you don't have to pay for the ad if someone clicks skip before 30 seconds is up. You can get a heck of a lot of branding and name recognition without paying anything at all. And I've gotten as cheap as 4-cent views on my ads that people did watch. And that's why they call them True View. In other words, someone had to actually watch them before you pay. And they also have a 15-second ad that people can't skip. So you have to pay for that one. But there's another type of ad that's at the top right of the search results called a discovery ad. And if they watch that ad at all, you have to pay. But heck, I got an hour and a half webinar, and I pay only 13 cents if somebody watches it. All right, so that's crazy. So YouTube has all kinds of ad formats besides the two I mentioned, but those two are relatively easy to figure out, cheap and powerful, and a good place to start. Okay, so there's other ads at Google. So, I mean, Google owns YouTube, but you have lots of other ways to advertise in your Google account. I mean, many people are familiar with Google AdWords advertising program where you show up in the Google search results. And they have so many darn ways to advertise now, they changed the name to Google Ads rather than AdWords. But you'll still see many people calling it AdWords since it's been ingrained as the premier pay-per-click service for a lot of years. So just one tip when advertising on Google or YouTube. Most people in the know do not advertise on Google search partners. You would have no idea where your ad would be seen, and generally the response is poor. So keep your ads to Google or YouTube itself. Okay, so there's a big primer on advertising tips and places you can advertise. And like I said at the beginning, obsess on your ads. Take courses. Get in my mentor program so we can help you and keep you out of trouble. But seriously, don't wait around for search engines organic traffic. You'll most likely be tripping over your beard before you get any. Okie dokie. So check out my school at imtcva.org so you can get my true lifestyle business that you can operate from anywhere in as little as 6 months. And help me out reaching the military spouse market. If you know anyone, please send them my way. All right, next episode is 128. Jeffrey Palmer. He created a simple and predictable system that generated the highest ever income in the history of a company in the beginning of the worst economic recession of our lifetime. And he'll have some great tips on sales and marketing for you. So also, get your free automation ebook and surprise gift at screwthecommute.com/automate-free. And the show notes for this episode would be at screwthecommute.com/127. I've got some really good links over there, that infographic I was telling you about. And really, I want you to take a paid ad. All right, catch you in the next episode. See you later.